can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Welcome in, everybody. I just got a message from Teri. She's on her way. She, accidents happen in traffic, and she wasn't in an accident, but she was certainly behind one. And our prayers for the truck driver that got in a bad situation and all the reroutings and stuff. Nashville is faced with a lot of traffic, and that kind of plays into what we're talking about today. When struggles happen, when we have a really we're just hit, like buffeted on all sides, bad news, things come our way. We have people in the hospital. We have things that break in the house, and we just get bump, bump, bump. The little things, it's like bees. And then the big things happen right along with it. And there comes a time when you go, I cannot feel anymore. Do you know what that feels like? Have you been there? I love for you to weigh in. While we wait for Teri to get here, we're going to have some conversations with you guys. Let me know that you're here. Leave a comment wherever you're watching. My name is Devon O'Day, and we meet here every Wednesday. Launch date is here. And I already had the show scheduled, and I didn't have time to move it when I realized what was going on with Teri. So anyway, good morning, Elizabeth. Glad that you're part of our launch date. This is our little, I always say it's our little gathering, our little self-help group. And our Miss Congeniality and our person who welcomes you all to the room is in our comments, and that is Elizabeth. Oh, Michael. Hello. Good to have you, Michael. Good to have you here with us. We're going to talk about being numb. We're going to, and sometimes we numb out. We use outside forces and outside things to numb out when the pain gets too much. But have you been kind of overrun by the numb? And how we want to talk a little bit today on how to get through that and how to get past that. And, I think about how many times are we driving in traffic and we're trying to get somewhere. We leave in plenty time, and then things just start eroding and eroding and eroding. And pretty soon, if we're following Waze or GPS, what started out, we were going to be 10 minutes early, we're going to be 30 minutes late. And that happens. Oh, and it drives you crazy, and you can't explain it. You can't anything except making an excuse. That's just one of those things that we're talking about all the time. Hello, Nicole. It's good to have you here today. Wonderful. And Elizabeth said, I so get being numb. Yes, easy to get overrun by it. It is. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm struggling a little bit right now with that being numb, of going, I don't even know how to feel anymore. I have some dear friends who are undergoing issues today in the hospital, that in the middle of the night, I get these texts, hey, I got rushed to the hospital. Hey, I've got surgery in the morning. And it's just like, what? And how do we handle those things? Hello, Diane Davis. How are you? It's good to see you. Always good to see you. I hope you're well. Hope you're happy. I met Diane over at WDKN in Dixon. A wonderful. She had so many fun shows over there. Elizabeth, I spent probably 20 years of my life without feeling a darn thing. Oh, that's a big statement. It's a big statement, isn't it? You know what? It's Elizabeth. It's a weird thing. And here's the deal. I love, there's a scene in Golden Girls where Blanche comes in and Dorothy is just kind of in a daze, and she was talking about how she was feeling. And Blanche says, I know what you mean. You're not quite blue because you're not depressed, and you're not red because you're not angry about anything. You're not yellow, so you're not really happy about anything. You're just kind of magenta, somewhere in there that's kind of, and I call it the flatlining of the spirit, And how do you get your joy back? How do you do it? And you know what? It's kind of a fight to get it back, and to not let life buffet us so much that we're stopped. Candy, how are you? Candy? Good to have you there. Candy's been doing some really interesting things. If you follow Candy's page, and she takes us with her on her walks, and and she's a perfect example of what we're talking about taking life and not letting go, because it's very easy for us to let go and just go, I just don't care. I just don't care. And Melissa, I always refer to those as passing days. Yeah. Yeah. I get that. It really is kind of that way, isn't it? We have issues and we have days that we can't quite get on our horse. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? We have too much bad. And I want you to start giving me some things that you do to get past that. For me, I find a little corner of my world, and I start finishing some things that are on my to-do list that have not been finished. Things that I've been looking forward to that somehow I didn't do or wouldn't do or whatever. Or I organize an area of my life that has become unmanageable. Let's say I've got a place that's kind of a clutter corner. And I've learned that if I have clutter in a corner, it is indicative of what's going on in my head. And if I can clean up that corner, all of a sudden my head starts clearing in that spot. And it leaves room for something good and productive to come in. Tim, I've been talking to Tim. Good afternoon. Love you, Tim. We've been texting back and forth. Bless his heart. Tim was texting me the other night, and I've been having problems with my phone, and I know I need to get a new one, but I become attached to my old one. Have you ever done that? And I don't want to start over with a new phone and having to learn it all again. I like my button. I don't want it where it's all just a screen. But guess what? I might have to get a new phone because it's not charging very well. Let's take a look at what Elizabeth says. I try not to force myself into feeling something I don't feel. If I'm in a magenta place, there is a reason. I'm definitely and organize it to feel better, girl. If my bed is made and no dirty dishes in the sink, it can change my entire mood. What is that? What is that? And I know if I've been for a while and both of those things have kind of fallen by the wayside and I'm letting some things go, the first start to get back into the swing is to pick up the things that I'm dropping. Pick up the things the little things, and those little things start giving me peace in the bigger things. Melissa, let's talk about what you're sharing. I recently released my book, God, Gratitude, and Giving, in which I talk about how my life shifted tremendously when I incorporated those powerful words daily. God, gratitude, and giving. Oh, I love that. Melissa, tell us where we can find this book. Maybe you can put a link in the comments. It sounds wonderful. Candy, I carry around 2 phones because I haven't changed over to the new one yet. I know. I even haven't changed my case, and this one's coming apart. It's just, but I like it because it's pink. Tim says, same here. I love my Android. People are wanting me to get an iPhone like I'm good with my Android. I love it. I love it. Elizabeth says, in a messy house match, if a messy house matches my mood, then I will sit in that space too long. That's good. That's really good. Well, a lot of times we get conditioned to the fact that we are rooted. We're rooted right where we are. And somehow that we're sitting in a rooted place and we have no control over what happens to us, that things happen to us. And someone gave me a phrase that has become my mantra. You're not a tree, move. Do something. You can do something every day to change the situation that you're in. You can move and make a positive step toward that. I may not be able to bite the whole elephant and take it in one bite, but in bite-sized pieces, I can take that whole elephant down. And that's the way we start getting back on our horse. Well, listen, now we've gotten off on phones now. I love this. I absolutely regret getting my new phone. That's funny. I absolutely get that. I get addicted to kind of the sameness and doing things the same way. Melissa shares the connection to her new book. If you look in the comments, Melissa puts the connection to her new book. And guess who just joined us? She here. What you doing? Not here, huh?
I'm being delayed today.
It's okay. We just started talking and talking about how to get out of the blahs, getting out of the feeling of being magenta. How we have been buffeted by so much bad. It's just like you just want to sit there and go, I'm numb. I'm just numb.
Yeah. And it's okay to be numb
Mm-hmm.
and be in that space for a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But you jerked a knot in my tail a few weeks ago and said, "What is going on with you? You are not you." And I said, "I'm numb. I'm just numb." Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
all right. And there is a time to be that and kind of go. But when you sit in that numb space, in that I don't care about anything space for too long, it
Yeah.
can it can literally pull you down into a quicksand.
Well, and it does that because the brain just sort of, well, it doesn't just sort of anything. The brain dumps the chemicals in that supports that magenta. So before
Mm,
you know it, everything is magenta and you're magenta. And there can be such a thing as toxic positivity where people are like, oh, just think happy thoughts and say positive affirmations and it'll all be good. And not that that's not okay in moderation,
mhm.
but let's be real. That doesn't always work. So we have to be accountable with ourselves, our
Right.
energy, and our actions.
And some of the things I said, sometimes there might be a little corner that has become an unmanageable corner
Mm-hmm.
physically in my home. It's the mail that's not opened, things that haven't been done, and literally taking over that corner, and that small corner opens up that corner in my brain that can't be productive, and
Mm-hmm.
says, "Okay, now let's go to another corner. Let's go to another place." Candy said, "I decide long ago that I have to live life, or life will pass me on by. I've had ups and downs along the way, but I try not to stay there and dwell on whatever."
Yep. I mean,
I
acknowledging things is one thing. Also being very mindful around the people that you keep company with, because you can have some really great people that you love their personality, you love the way they show up, you love all this fun stuff, but they can really be a negative Nelly. And if you put them in your back pocket and you walk around with them, I can assure you before long they're going to weigh you down. And so um everything in moderation, right?
mm-hmm.
And being able to set boundaries for yourself, for sure.
Numb can be safe, Elizabeth says. At least it felt safe to me during all those years. Elizabeth revealed earlier, she said about 20 years she stayed in the numb zone.
Hmm. Well, we get really familiar and really comfortable in the numb zone. The numb zone is another word for the uncomfortable comfortable.
Hmm.
Because we don't have to be really accountable to anything other than I just don't feel good, or I'm just here, or I'm just not really present in life. You
I can't
know,
change anything.
right? I can't change anything, which is the biggest untruth ever. You
It's
know,
a, you're not a tree, move.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
I don't even know who told me that or where I saw that, but that has been a mantra to get my butt off the numb zone and move into other things. And it really is, it's, I mean, and it's everything working. I said, it's a struggle, but it is a fight to get out of the numb zone, because the numb zone is that comfortable, uncomfortable that pulls us in and tells us that we're better off there. But the truth is, we're not. And it's everything for me, from aromatherapy, changing that in my home, going on a giveaway spree, giving away things. I
Hmm.
mean, I have thrown away, literally, and I learned this from you, Teri. In the last week, I have been going through and going, I don't have children. I have no one that's going to want these particular sentimental items that I haven't looked at in 34, 40 years. And I'm letting go of some of those things going, if I decided to cash my chips in tomorrow, somebody's going to have to just come in with a dumpster and get all this stuff. And I go, why don't I just clear this out and allow room for things to blossom? And so it is amazing what that has done. It is amazing what has happened. And Candy says, one of the best ways I get out of it is to listen to great motivational videos from YouTube a few times a day. I love that.
Absolutely. And we can find motivation in just about anything. I mean, real talk, if you go outside and you stare at the grass long enough, you're going to see an ant trying to carry something. And if you're not motivated by something like that, then there's other ways to be motivated. Right. And, the other thing you just referenced, like the stacks of paper, and they just become overwhelming and you don't know what to do with them, or the stack of mail. Well, I'm guessing, and this is just the way Teri's brain works, I'm guessing that people go to the bathroom, I don't know, 3-4 times a day. So take a little stack of paper in there with you. And you don't even have to open it all up. Junk mail when you see junk mail. When you see junk mail at the mailbox, file 13 that right out of the gate. Don't even take it in the house with you. Throw it in your recycle, throw it in your trash, throw it in your burn pile. You don't have to take that into the house. So that eliminates part of that stack right there. The other part is, if you've got stuff at the way bottom, and I'm talking about you got a 2-foot stack, you can pretty much guarantee that the bottom foot is already outdated anyway. So, very effortlessly go through and see what you have multiples of. Take the most recent, recycle the rest. There's ways that we can do that. But when we look at it, it visually, it looks overwhelming. So we just go, oof, that's too much. I'm just going to not do that right now. But the only way we ever get it gone, this is with mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial clutter, whatever it is to start at one corner of it and be consistent and be diligent and be gentle with yourself, but also call bullshit on yourself when you're like, no, I think I'm just going to not do that now. It's okay not to do it now. And then 3 weeks later, you're going, yeah, but it's okay not to do it now. No, it's not. If you're sitting there in that space for 3 weeks, you need additional support or help.
Yeah. Melissa shares, when I was young, a dear friend of mine came to visit me and I was going through a hard time. He said 2 words I carried with me the rest of my life. And those words were, it's temporary.
Absolutely.
Whew.
It's all temporary. Right?
Yeah. If we have not learned that in the last 2 years, we have been in the wrong headspace. It's all temporary. That's perfect. Michael, hi, hello to Michael who's watching. Candy says, oh, Teri, I have shortened my circle due to negative Nellies. I don't want to hear all of that. Same reason I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me we had a talk and we were discussing about not watching the news. And he says, but you have no idea what's going on. Well, you know what's going on. And have you changed anything that's going on?
Right. Right. And here's the thing. That's just how the world works, right? Anything that you really need to know what's going on, it's going to find you. You're going to know about it. I'm not saying live life with your head in the sand, but, you can turn on the news and you can say, oh, wow, these things are unfolding. And okay, I know this now. But then if you start Googling all those things and then you start talking at the water cooler about all those things, and then you're calling family and friends and going, oh my gosh, did you know this? If you're that person that calls to be the news breaker, you probably got some kind of problem. Like, I'm just saying,
Elizabeth says, exactly. It's comfortable and known. The unknown was terrifying to me. Feelings terrified me. I had to be in control, and emotions meant no control. Ooh, that's a good one.
And then again, all the control that we hold here, trying to control, we squeeze the life out of everything, and you can't receive anything with that closed fist.
Yeah, that's what Teri does all the time. She will just bust you on your stuff. It's like, you're not controlling anything. You're just keeping stuff out.
You are just keeping it out and keeping it in.
Stuff, and keeping it in. The good stuff you're keeping out. The
That's how we
bad stuff you're
become,
keeping in. Yeah.
that's how we become what I call emotionally constipated. We just keep it all in, keep it all in, keep it all in. It's got to come out. Like, you don't walk around holding farts in, so you got to let everything else out. You're going to be really uncomfortable if you do. And I don't want to be around you when you do it. So, you know.
Michael says, when the pain to remain the same outweighs the pain to change, people change. Ooh,
they absolutely do, Michael, one way or the other. Some people will find a way to navigate and to get support. I try to use the word, I use the word support over getting help, because our culture we've created this environment, this culture that thinks that when we ask for help, we're weak. And that's just completely untrue. But sometimes we do need support or a little guidance on things. And sometimes people, when that pain outweighs, they leave other ways. They don't necessarily find support, but they do find relief in some ways.
Amen. Amen. Tim said, shred that junk mail.
Absolutely.
It can go right in the garden. You can
That's
just shred
right.
it, and it can become a part of the compost and mulch. Janie says, OMG, I'm there. Janie, I know you've been going through so much, a big move, a big change of where she was to where she's going, then going through moving her parents who are older into a situation, then watching them change. And there's that time when the child becomes the parent, and that's kind of where she is right now. And I'm not meaning to share your business, Janie, but a lot of us are in that boat, and people have been in that boat. And you do become, as a caregiver, as someone who's involved like that, you get overwhelmed. When you get overwhelmed, then after overwhelmed, it's numb. It's like, I can't do anything.
Caregiver fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Michael, I'm keeping all my guitars. I'm going to keep all my guitars. Yes, go ahead, Michael. I get it. Oh, that's so funny. Let's see who is with us. Oh my gosh, we got so many new people here today. Lisa Franklin joins us today.
Hey,
She says,
Lisa.
I'm joining late, but I'm here. Tammy
Me too.
Pierce. yeah. You got behind, as you know, traffic is one of those things that can kind of wear you down too. Tammy Pierce says, I'm here. I'm all ears. Yay.
That's right.
I love Elizabeth's. Yes, it's so amazing to learn that it's temporary. Life does change. Life is a big old semicolon.
It all changes. And here's the thing with that. It incrementally, it changes when we start changing ourselves. And that can be in the most quiet, subtle ways. You know, I tell people all the time, stretch for 2 or 3 minutes before you get out of bed in the morning. And they look at me like I've got 3 heads, and they're like that's going to make a difference. And I'm like, well, not with an attitude like that. It's not, I mean, real talk, do things that bring small things into your day that help shift that numb. I tell people all the time, make intentional actions that shift the scale in favor of what you're hoping or seeking to accomplish.
Okay, you bring up that, and it's so funny how you do this, Teri Pugh.
What have I done?
What have you done? Okay, the stretching before you get out of bed. I was just paying attention to my dogs and my cats. I'm going, okay, they live a happy life. Life is good and whatever. And they have this joy. They have their significant other, me, and I have them as my significant other. So I started watching. I go, how does your day start? And Mike stretches, and the cat stretches. And then the next thing they do is get some cuddles. That's the whole deal. It's like it's that whole feeling that it feels so good to stretch and let go, to breathe deep, to let it out. And I love Tim says, amen. Let that gas go. Let it go. Let it go. Like from Disney's Frozen.
There you go. Yes. But yeah, stretching is a huge benefit. And it's something that we take, we as human beings very seldom stretch. Like people are like, oh, that's
Mhm.
exercise, and I don't want to exercise. Are you kidding me? Like stretching releases lactic acids in your body. It
Mhm.
increases your circulation. It increases your serotonins and your dopamines. Something that is so simple that we don't have any idea how beneficial something like that is for ourselves. And when you're
Right.
intentionally, yes, and when you're intentionally stretching, the golden rule is 20 to 30 seconds to hold a particular, stretch or whatever, because then your brain sends the receptors out that says, oh, hey, you're actually doing this on purpose. Okay. So the next time you do this, I'm on board. And it starts to send those receptors to go, yes, this is a new thing we're doing. And
Mhm.
the more consistent you stay with it, it becomes just as effortless as all of the numbness and all of the negativity. It just waves in and starts to gently replace and move that stuff out. And before you know it, I tell clients this when I start working with them: you're going to walk in here, you're going to call me one day, and I know this for certainty. You're going to say, I don't know what's happened, but something's happened. Something's shifted. And I don't really know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know it. And that's
Mhm.
when they implement these small things that build and they build. And then their wheelhouse is full. And then it
Mhm.
shifts. And they don't know what it is. And you don't have to know what it is. You just know you feel better.
Okay, now we've got some things, and you can write these things down. A lot of little tips are starting to fly in. Before you got on, for Elizabeth, she maintained making the bed and the dishes in the sink.
Mm, yeah.
Something small, stretching before you get up. For me, taking a corner that has become unmanageable and making that one little corner manageable,
Mm-hmm.
and opening up your life to let some room for something to come in that is good, room for something to bless you. And y'all, just a few weeks ago, Teri came into this studio where I work every day, and she says, I could not work in here. I mean, it's so chaotic in here because we've got like three different little studios set up in this one little room.
It is. You don't see it from where you are right now, but when you walk in, you're like, holy cow. Y'all got the Clampetts and everybody are in the Waltons, the Clampetts, they're all in this one little space. I'm like, whoo, Lord. Mm-mm,
Yeah. I
mm-mm.
can't and and I laugh. I go, well, that's probably a key as to why I'm having some issues right now. I go, okay, maybe that is. Okay, Melissa shares such a great conversation. Have to prepare for a Zoom call. Thank you for letting me share. You ladies are amazing.
Thank you, Melissa.
Love
Thank you for
you,
joining
Melissa.
us.
And thank you for sharing the link to your book. You'll find that in the comments. Michael says, I'm thankful I found this live stream. I needed to hear this right now in my life. Michael, I am so
Yes,
glad that you joined us because you offered some really good stuff yourself.
absolutely.
Um, let's see. Diane says, Amen. That's where I am too.
Mm-hmm.
Diane's another broadcaster. So we all have our little things, our places. Candy says, even just a simple thing like making your bed first thing in the morning. True.
And
It is.
I will add this, and it's a challenge. And I guarantee you there are not but a handful of people that do it. I'm not one of them that does it. I do it sometimes. Eliminate before you intake. And what I mean by that is when you get up in the morning, have your little potty break that you need before you pick that phone up and start zooming Instagram and TikTok and Googling world affairs and what's going on Facebook. Let your phone be there. Get up, stretch your body, go to the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself what a wonderful person you are. Tell yourself one thing you like about yourself. That phone is going to be there. That social media is going to be there. Those text messages and emails and phone calls and voicemails, they're going to be there. Put yourself first, because if you're not putting yourself first, you're teaching everyone else to put you second.
That's good stuff. I'm giving myself arthritis from holding a phone. I'm giving it to myself. My
Mm.
hands are going to be curled in the shape of a phone. It's like, what? Stop it. Just stop it.
We're going to have to assemble you one of them little hats that come down and have the phone in front of it. You can just walk
I
around
know.
like a little miner with a hat with your phone right there. Like a GoPro for Devon.
Tammy says, this must be a word. Second time today I've heard situations are temporary, believing we're in the hallway on our way to the next room. Oh, I love that. In the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. Candy says, so then stretch and end it with giving yourself a big old hug.
Yes. Y'all know me in the hugging now.
I know.
We're actually, I just said to someone today, I need to get the details. Well, I don't need to. I'm going to get the details finished on the hugging workshop. So I'll have that information out to folks next week. And well, I'll just get to cuddle up.
It only, Elizabeth says, takes something like 17 to 20 days to become a habit and a natural part of the daily routine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And just like the tracks in the brain, and I'm going to bounce off of what Elizabeth just said, the tracks in the brain, this is a visual that I give people all the time. If you imagine your brain, visualize a chunk of clay the size of a cantaloupe. And you got a little Tonka truck and you're just kind of running it over it and running it over it and running it over it. And before long, it's going to wear these grooves down. And that little Tonka truck is going to be set in its ways. And just to the left of that groove or that track, there's another pathway, right? And it's one maybe that you haven't traveled a lot. So you get out of your little Tonka truck and you walk over and you're like, oh, well, this looks like an interesting path. This is the new thing you're going to try, the new healthy habit or the new whatever you're going to do. And it's going to take you 17 to 20-ish days to clear that path. So meticulously, you walk it, you pull the weeds back, you trim it back, you're programming it and you are creating it just the way you want it. Creating that path does not mean that Tonka truck is not sitting over on the other side waiting to go. So you have to be, or we have to be diligent in our mindfulness and our consciousness to what is most important. And the brain will falter from time to time and go, none of it's important. Go eat that whatever, go drink that whatever, go smoke that whatever, go lay on the couch and, Google the shit out of Netflix or whatever. The brain will tell you to do that because that's what you've done for so long. But stay on that path, keep clearing that path. And eventually, all that other stuff is not quite as enticing. It's not about willpower. It's about the way that we program, reprogram, train, retrain one thing that is a muscle. It is our brain. It does not have more power than that. It does what we tell it to do, unless we have a chemical imbalance. And that is not because of a person's fault. That is just a chemical imbalance.
Elizabeth says, that's why I bought a house that would fit a family of 6. I needed my spaces, especially since I work from home. Our own spaces are important. I dig that.
Absolutely.
I dig that. Yeah. Janie, I love you, Michael, Yermond, and I love you, Devon. I need to hear what I did today. We love you, Janie. We do. And Elizabeth, you and your bathroom breaks. I use the bathroom, feed the cats, and make coffee before I look at the phone. I love that. I mean, and that is so simple. That is so simple.
Well, we did it in the past when we had phones that hung in the kitchen on the wall. You got up and you did what you did before you ever picked up the phone because you didn't have the world at your fingertips. Yeah. Now our brain is so hungry for that instant gratification that we don't gratify ourselves first. We don't put ourselves first.
True. I don't look at my phone, Candy says, till after I go potty, make my bed, read my devotional, answer my question of the day book, and read for 30 minutes. Then I look at the phone. Whoo, that is some discipline, girl.
There you go.
That's some discipline. We need to build new grooves in the brain. I had a therapist tell me that 30 years ago. New grooves. Candy says, I'm in a 21-day change your morning routine to help set you up for success right now. I want to find out if there's anything extra or change in my morning routine. I love that. Candy's always working to better, make life more rich, more. And I so honor her for that. I just love that. Michael says, I don't want to talk about personal stuff in a public forum, but would love to chat with you two individually at some point, or maybe get some advice about myself and my life now. It's too complex. Michael, that's a perfect way that we put a bow on this puppy, and we tell you how you can reach each one of us. Well, I'm easy. I'm not easy. I'm not saying it like that. DevonO'Day@gmail.com is an easy way to get in touch with me.
And I can be found at terrypugh.com. So that, or on Instagram under Transcending Turbulence. People find me all kinds of ways. I'm kind of like that little cockroach. They just
so
find
funny.
me. They just find me.
Well, a big thank you to Janie Trudell for being here. And I know you got to leave. You got bunches going on. Thank you so much, Michael. And Cheryl LaValle, who joined us. And, and Michael, I'm glad that you were part of our show. And you guys make it every single week. Just look at the replay. We leave these up. You can find us at Transcending Turbulence. You can find us on all of my pages. And you can find us on YouTube and on Twitter, on my Devon O'Day Twitter. So anywhere that you are, I hope that you share. I hope that you join and tell people about us, because one day a week we meet here for Launch Date, Wednesdays at noon.
Absolutely. And I want to say a special thank you today to, I feel like that chick off a Romper Room when you're holding that little mirror up and you're like, and who do I see in my mirror? Yeah. That's an age thing, I guess. But to Nick and to Dana, because I actually got messages before I ever even got on today. Are you okay? Where are you? What's going on?
I know. I knew people were going to be asking for you. I said, look, I'm going to start this thing, but you don't know the relief. My whole body kind of relaxed. You walked out, oh my, thank God she's here.
Well, somebody hit a power line, knocked it down. I got detoured. Then a truck jackknifed across the road, not in front of me, but he had been sitting there for a while. So I had to detour again. So it just took me a while, but I got here. Just like life. We get detours. We get there. We can either gripe about it, or we just roll with it.
So, and Dana's giving this big laughy. I said, y'all just don't know. These are my sessions, and I'm just bringing y'all into my session with Teri. I was freaking out because Teri wasn't here, but that's okay. It's okay.
It's all good.
And we hear, and Devon, remember to turn dark into light.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Thank you guys for being with us. And until next time, Teri, take it away.
As always, we appreciate you all for listening, sharing, and joining us. And until we see you next Wednesday, increase the peace and have a great day.